like to introduce yourself, Caroline, Green Party, and then do 3 minutes. You may not have a pitch first.
Hello, hi, I'm Caroline Allen, I'm a candidate for the Green Party. I'm here really because I believe, and the Green Party believes, that we can have a fairer society that meets everyone's needs. Years of sort of usual politics have left us feeling that we've got maybe broken communities, services that are remote, and also the financial chaos. However, the Green Party has really been ahead of its time, and we've called for what is needed before the others have even recognised that there's a problem in many cases. Several years ago, we were saying London is too reliant on financial services, and what we need is real jobs. However, it's difficult sometimes for us Greens to find a voice. We don't cope up with big business or big media. So I'm really grateful to have been invited here and to have the opportunity to speak to you. Now, you know that the Greens can be trusted on the environment. I'm not going to really talk about that. What I'm here to talk to you about is to assure you that we have coordinated and fully costed policies right across the board. And yes, they're radical, but they offer positive alternatives that really will lead to a better quality of life for everyone. I had a letter from a constituent. She was writing to me because she was suffering from pretty nasty antisocial behaviour around her flat. I know it's happening in many areas around Ilford, around the country, and I know that can really affect people's quality of life because it's happened to me. We put up CCTV cameras, we can call the police, lock them up, it's what the other parties are calling for. And of course, sometimes that is required. But we've been doing that for a while now, and a lot of us, we don't feel much safer. What's the real issue here? Why do some of our kids and kids of this community and other communities feel the need to go around getting enjoyment from other people's suffering? Why do they feel so distrustful that they're carrying knives, and we see that they will use them with frightening regularity? Why do our children come out so badly on studies of well-being compared to those in other countries? Well, myself and the Greens and many others really believe that the high and growing levels of inequality in this society are associated with these and other social ills. Unequal societies have less trust, less social mobility, more teenage pregnancy, more violence. This is proven independent research, and I think, it sounds familiar. Tackling inequality is at the heart of the Green Party manifesto, and we are not afraid to call for higher taxes from the very wealthy and protection of public services. Why should public services be paying for a crisis brought on by the incredible greed of millionaire bankers? The Greens have a costed programme to invest in a green economy and create 1 million new jobs and training places, giving hope to young people and the unemployed. And the Green Party will ensure that quality local services are available for everyone who needs them.
3 minutes.
Okay,
I'm going to be tough, but otherwise we're going to keep, we'll be even later. So over to Lee Scott.
Good evening, everybody. First off, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Lee Scott. I've been a Member of Parliament for Ilford North since 2005. I made some pledges in 2005. The first pledge I made was I would not take a second home in Westminster, unlike my Labour predecessor who had done so. Certainly was the wisest decision I've ever taken in my life. And when the Daily Telegraph named me as a saint, it was a big surprise to me, probably a big surprise to you as well, but a big surprise to my rabbi, if I'm being honest. I also pledged I would not take any foreign trips on the taxpayer's expense, and have not done so. Any trips I've taken, I pay for myself. I was born in Stratford, and then we moved to what is now Redbridge, but I'm afraid to say, as I'm 54 years old, Redbridge didn't actually exist then, so it wasn't Redbridge, but it would have been had it existed. I've lived here, other than working up in Yorkshire for a number of years, ever since. I have 5 children who have been educated locally, and basically the problems you have are the problems I have. And what are those problems? What do constituents come to me with? They want food on their table, a roof over their head, a better quality of life, to be able to live their lives without being hindered by antisocial behaviour. And I believe that this country needs a new beginning. It hasn't worked. Every government and every politician, and I just have a little guess, but it doesn't matter what colour rosette we're wearing, you probably don't trust any of us. That's really what the problem is today. And politicians have let you down. Not all, because there's good politicians in all political parties trying to do the best for their constituents. But sadly, that isn't going to sell tabloid or other newspapers. You're only ever going to hear about the ones who have done wrong. And I find that sad, because to put the trust back in politics is going to take a very long while. But I believe it can be done. I believe we can tackle antisocial behaviour. I believe we can do things such as save our hospital, King George's, and out of interest, the only party in their manifesto who has said they would do so is ourselves. And of course in the House of Commons, when we had the vote where we could have stopped any cuts at King George's, we voted for it, and the incumbent government did not vote for it. So let's have no doubt on this whatsoever. We will protect the services. Savings do need to be made, and there's going to be some harsh decisions, whoever is in power after the next general election on May the 6th. But I tell you here tonight, on behalf of my party, we are not going to cut any frontline services. Not in education, not in health, nowhere else. But there's many savings. I'm just very briefly, because I've got about how long left?
Half a minute.
Half a minute left. I'll speak much quicker. What we need to do is to stop things like the former chief executive of our local healthcare trust, Mark Rees, who ran up a deficit of £113 million and then got rewarded with a £500,000 payoff and £1 million in the pension, and his wife got likewise. Well, there's savings up and down our country which won't affect anything other than people making a lot of money. Thank you.
Over to Robert.
Good evening, everybody. It's been a big shock to my system to be here and to stand for Parliament, and it's not come after a light reflection. It's come after soul-searching and a lot of anger. Anger at what's happening to our society, and the belief that the parties in power, notwithstanding that there are many good MPs in all parties, are not up to facing the problems that we face in our society today. I'll give you a short example of something that affected me very recently. I was in the street, and 4 girls, about 12, 13, came out of a sweet shop, and then straight in front of me they took off their wrappers and threw them on the floor and walked around me. Now, 5 years ago I would have said to those girls, "Excuse me, would you please be better?" 20 years ago, they would have done so, and done so politely, and apologised. The response today is 4-letter abuse and a scene, and the only way to respond is to turn away and say, "It's not my problem." You know that, I know that. You know how public morality has sunk. We're in a society that's frightened to stand up for the values that most of us hold dearly. Christian values. Caroline Petrie, a nurse in Weston-super-Mare, asked a distressed elderly patient in a hospital if she'd like her to pray for her. It got overheard, and she was suspended, and she would have probably been sacked if there hadn't been a national campaign to save her. Shirley Chaplin, a nurse, very recently in the news, has been taken off contact with patients for wearing a small cross, which she'd been wearing as a nurse for 40 years. There are many other situations. What has happened to British Christian society? Are we going to get back to where we should be, or are we going to carry on and let it go? When I go around talking to people, they say it's too late, and I say give it a chance, give it a chance. Christian values built this land and made it what it was. It doesn't exclude Jewish values, because the Christian and Jewish values are largely the same. And I don't exclude Muslim values either, because anyone who worships God, to my mind, is on the right track. But there are secularistic people who want to undermine it and kill it. And the politicians are too frightened to touch it. Local politicians